Going live just a tiny bit early because I was set up, and I normally do it on time or a little bit after, and I saw a cheeky hurry up from Annette who'd been waiting on YouTube for about 10 minutes for the stream to start. So I thought, well, I guess I better hurry up, start a whole minute early. So here I am in it, and hello nobody, good evening to you. And cheers as I start the evening off. I'm back on the blood orange. Oh, which is like that much blood orange and the rest is lemonade. It's such a strong flavor. Very refreshing though. Much better flavor than standard orange juice. Not that I've got anything against particularly fresh orange juice. But blood orange juice, I just prefer. PBR, Viva Mexico. It's also the birthday of, wow, that's a few notables. Henry V, J.C. Penney, B.B. King, Hank Williams, Mickey Rourke, David Copperfield, Peter Falk, Amy Poehler, Jen Tilley, and Mary Custis, famous for being Effie in Australia. That is quite a roll call, PBR. I'm always fascinated. Like I usually, before the live streams, to see if there's some way, I can just have a theme, because rather than just saying live stream, which honestly the impulse is to do that sometimes. I think it was what I was doing when I started, and I thought I can't just keep saying it live stream. I have to give it a name. I have to give it a meaning. So I was looking up. Has someone proclaimed this the day of something? Was someone famous born on or died, or was there big events on this day? And I thought Mexican Independence Day was a fairly big event. Independence from Spanish. So that's what I went with this evening. There's always multiple things. It's just it depends if you feel inspired by anything. Hey, Annette. Did you go away after leaving me that hurry up message? I just noticed it when I connected. I feel weird. I've been feeling tired the last couple of days, and I don't know if it's just because you people made me stay up really late on Friday and Saturday nights, and I had a few drinkies, and it's recovery time, or I don't know if I'm coming down with something. PBR, only tequila and mezcal, maybe. Oh, you're on another tab, Annette. Fair enough. There is actually, if I go on the Difford site, which is where I get about 75 to 90% of my ideas for cocktails. Very good. There's a couple of good cocktail sites: Difford's Guide, liquor.com, Punch Drink, few good ones. So for Mexican Independence Day, Difford's has a roll call. This is what I made in a previous day. I think it must have been for Tequila Day, Amatitan Twist. And I found out that's a town or a province in Mexico. A farmer's tan. Chili oil spiked like a cherry on the surface of the drink. Oof, that sounds a bit beastly. Farmer's tan. A gringo's blood and sand. Because a traditional blood and sand has Scotch whiskey. And this replaces the Scotch with tequila, which is interesting. So what's a farmer's tan? Mezcal, Amaro, Curacao, and chocolate mole bitters. 1.5 ounces of mezcal. That's pretty serious. And no, that's going to be too bitter. 1.5. No, it's only half. Half an ounce of an Amaro. And then half an ounce of orange. No, I'm not in the mood for that. Definitely not in the mood for that. Aidsy is supposedly going to join us. He's very keen. Actually texted me before I went live asking for the link. So as soon as I had the studio set up, I sent him the link. So he could be here anywhere from the next 5 minutes to an hour from now. It's very hard to be sure with him. But que sera, sera, as the saying goes. So a gringo's blood and sand. So 1.5 ounces tequila, 3/4 of an ounce cherry brandy, sweet vermouth, orange juice, and I have some fresh squeezed orange juice. Whew, I might even try that one. I've I might actually try that one. We shall see. La Perla. Dry salty sherry with dry salty tequila sweetened with pear and cognac. Sounds like this at Oaxaca. I'm never sure how to pronounce that place name. I think it's Oaxaca. It looks like Oaxaca. I'm sure I've heard people say Oaxaca. But yes, an Oaxaca old-fashioned. So it's tequila, mezcal, agave, and some drops of bitters. So it's an old-fashioned Mexican style. Yeah, but no, that could be a thing. A lavender margarita. A picador. Same as a classically proportioned margarita. That's right. I did this on a tequila day. It was interesting to discover there's a drink that is exactly the same as the classic proportions of the margarita, was published like 16 years before the first written reference to a margarita, but this one never caught on. So a margarita is just a knockoff of a picador, but the picador never caught on. Marketing, I guess. I don't know. Silk stocking. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. Yes, PBR, all the kids should be beating a Donald Trump-shaped piñata with sticks. They'd be hesitant to drink anything that came out. So what's in a silk stocking? Tequila, creme de cacao, grenadine, and cream. Fuck me, that's decadent. That is fucking decadent. I could make a variant on that. Could definitely make a variant on that. Sports choice. Tres amigos. Rum. Ooh. It's Tommy's Margarita. That's a modern classic. Tres amigos daiquiri. Tequila. Blanco tequila. Anejo tequila. Rum is the third amigo. Lime juice. So it's like it's a daiquiri with a bit of rum in it. Yeah. They're going to say go Navy strength rum. I'm weird. I feel weirdly tired. But I'll soldier on for a while at least. It's probably the Rona. I'm probably coming down with the Rona. Not that I, interact with humans much at all. Basically go to the supermarket, twice a week. Nobody, you reckon a Trump voodoo doll over a piñata? When I read the start of your comment, never mind a piñata, I just thought you wanted to see all the little kids beating Donald Trump himself with sticks, which is fair. That is true, PBR, because I grew up in New South Wales, also called Fix Mexicans, because south of the border, and we don't have any evidence right now. Independence. We never did. But at least the majority of the state are pulling together and doing a pretty goddamn amazing job of holding this fucking virus at bay. I can hear the drums, Fernando. Yes, there was something in the air that night. Yeah, no, but it is somewhat appealing. even with Trump, I go, okay, well, that doesn't actually solve any problems. It would be funny if it was children. It would only be funny if it was children. A group of small children really enthusiastically beating Trump with sticks because they think candy's going to come out of him. And he's trying to fight the kids off. It'd even be funny if Trump kicked a couple of kids in the head. There's some comedy value in that, I think. The idea of Trump being swarmed by little kids, like give him a fair chance once he could fight off. And live from hospice is hospital, not hospice. That's a terrible thing to say.
Fuck, don't say hospice because that's
no. Jesus. Hey, man, how's it going?
It goes. After a show tonight, I pack.
Yes, because you're going out tomorrow.
I'm out tomorrow. I've got to put all of the stuff that I've accumulated into a very big backpack. And I have to take out clothes that I'm going to wear tomorrow and put them on a chair. And
nice.
throw away every last piece of rubbish.
Clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
That's fair. And we were busy celebrating Mexican Independence Day here. And
is it Cinco de Mayo?
No, Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day, and it's not even celebrated in Mexico. It got picked up somehow by Americans. It's an anniversary. It's of a significant battle in Mexico's War of Independence. But today is actually Mexico's Independence Day, and we got so far as thinking it would be best celebrated by small children beating Donald Trump with sticks because they think he's a piñata.
Do you think, however, it would be funnier to put small children into an air cannon and shoot them over the border carrying large bags of drugs?
See, I think that's what Trump and his supporters think actually happens. I think they think that's happening already.
I think that'd be funny if they lined up a whole bunch of clown air cunts. Some of them still have stars and stripes painted on them.
Mexican circus performers.
With big sombreros that were really ridiculous. Like mariachi band singers would go, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's how ridiculous these sombreros would be. But they've got rubber around the edges, see? Seals. And then boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. On all the border people, control people with the white cars and the yellow lights and the automatic rifles, would turn up and go, I ain't gonna let none angry children come over here. And they can shoot them as they like ducks. And you can't get all the ducks.
You're really sounding like a Trump supporter now. I'm just saying that that's something that they would actually, A, believe happens, and B, be really into the idea of trying to do it as a duck shoot.
Have you never shot ducks?
Honestly, no.
I've shot ducks, and you can't get them all. You
No.
just can't get them all unless you net the pond first.
Yeah.
And then
you do it American style with semi-automatic rifles, where you actually can fire 40 rounds in 30 seconds.
Did you know that more AK-37s are made each second than you can fire bullets out of an AK-47 in a second?
Well, because
in a clip.
Mr. Kalashnikov made the designs so easy to replicate. It's the people's gun. Like, it's when we say AK-47s, the overwhelming majority of them are bootleg, but the design has been so easy to make. Yeah, everyone around the world fucking makes what are essentially AK-47s, even though they're homebrew.
They're in fact now different to the original design because Anatoly himself said, still too hard with the simplest action in the world, right?
Yeah.
You can take apart an AK-47 in the dark in 8 moves. you can clean it and put it back in those 8 moves, and you can do it in under 30 seconds, which is like this is a complete strip clean. Not like a jam. If I can get a jammed round out, which almost never happens in an AK. Happens a lot in fucking M16, but bloody when the Americans went to go and help the Mujahideen kick the shit out of the Russians, some of these AKs hadn't been cleaned for 5 and 8 years, and the Americans said, how are we going to convince these guys to do this? Because cleaning a gun is like more than 2 moves. And so what they did was they said, tie 2 bootlets together, dump it in sump oil, and put it down the barrel and just drag it through. And they did, and so much crap came out. It was like a big plug. And the Arabs were shooting the guns again and said, oh, shit's all straighter now. Jesus. But they're very effective. So AK didn't get a cent out of the AKs. They're mostly made in China and in Africa, and
made in China and shipped to Africa.
AK said this machining's no good. They've got to be made out of stamped and folded metal, and they're stamped in one press. Another press folds them, and a little old lady in a scarf puts them all together.
Yeah.
And what's always funny is they get the spessnuts together, and they get these little old ladies who sweep the floor, and then spessnuts get told, oh, okay, strip your weapon, and then righto, and say, fuck, that was shit out. Little old lady, come over here and strip this weapon. And she goes, oh, I don't know. Come over here and strip this weapon. Okay, done. Sorry. And then,
that was spectacular.
I know, right? And then they go, put it back together, and it's done. And then what it actually is she's one of the ladies from the factory, and she's been putting these things together for fucking 40 years. It's all she does for 8 hours a day. And the older specimens know this is the trick, and they take photos of these guys going, like fucking gobsmacked. So, Mexican kids shot through air cannons, lots of drugs.
I still think them beating Donald Trump with sticks is simpler. And also, hi to Dingle Doty saying first time she's been able to get into a live show for a while. It was worst possible time difference, most inconvenient time difference, unless you're an insomniac, is us in the UK, basically.
Best possible time for all 3 continents to get together is 8 p.m. Australian winter time.
I think you'll find not, because it's 8 p.m. now.
No, Australian winter
if
time.
I look at the world clock, okay, I'm just gonna look at the world clock.
Look at the world clock.
I love having shit like this in my hand.
Yeah.
It's actually okay. It's the middle of the day. I'm actually talking shit. It's the middle of the day there, like 11 a.m.
In LA?
In LA, it's 3 a.m. So.
What about New York?
6 a.m.
Right. That was why it was the magic hour. When I was on a forum, it was a world forum, and I was one of the mods, and we had to meet occasionally.
Yeah.
And occasionally I had to wait until 4 o'clock in the morning, and occasionally we would meet at the golden hour, which was 8 p.m. for me.
Mm.
And the Americans get up early, and the Britons were already awake. So it wasn't so bad. But then we usually then had to do another meeting for the LA kids, and they're like several hours behind. And so
3.
Then the Britons would be winding down, and the New York kids could join in, and the Australians would be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning going, come on.
Yeah.
Please have this meeting. So Mexican kids, boom, over the border.
Yeah.
Border police giving it a bit of fucking ducks. And I reckon we should give the Mexican kids squirrel suits. So not
They
only
can
do they
fly.
get shot out of cannons, but they can give it a little bit of and like
Yeah.
dodge and weave, right? Dodge and weave, and then they
You think that's given them a fair chance?
Yeah. And then you see the little red X's that the coyotes have put out, and then they down and drop parachute, can get everything off, dump the drugs in the back of the truck, and the truck drives off without them.
That's fair. Was it like, sorry, Annette in the chat, her dog has declared itself street sheriff, whose main duty is breaking up fights involving her cat buddies. So the dog is laying down the law in the street.
Got to be done.
I like that.
Some broke. Oh shit! I haven't shut the door.
Ooh. Yep. He's just got to go shut his door so he doesn't make noise for the rest of the hospital, which is incredibly polite of you. Mind you, same deal. I've shut all the doors to the kitchen so my noise doesn't carry too far to the rest of the house. Politeness, people, costs you nothing. Costs you nothing. So that's our watchword. Consideration for others. But PBR, talking about ducks, what happened to Laurie Levy? That name sounds vaguely familiar, and I cannot place it. I can't remember what you had to run down the street after. Phew! Lucky our curfew got moved, Annette, or you wouldn't have been able to. But now you're allowed to run down the street after your dog for another 40 minutes. All right. So she doesn't care about any other cats, just your cat, Zorro and Sir Pounce. Okay, fair enough. But just keeps order. That's fair. You're just testing angles, are you?
Well, I've got the main light on.
No, it's all good. All right. He's gone again. He'll probably be back soon. Oh, you didn't realize the curfew had changed. And it's just been running down the street chasing her dog. And I was saying, well, lucky for you, the curfew's changed because you're allowed to do it now.
What did the curfew's change to?
1 hour later, so to 9 o'clock.
Well,
for two more weeks. Now, my early bet is that in 2 weeks the curfew will go, and probably the 5 kilometer limit will go, for two reasons. One, I think the numbers will be good enough that you feel confident doing it. But two, as strong as Dan Andrews' will has been to follow medical advice, no matter what the political pressure put on him by the absolute fuckwits was, I don't think he'd be able to extend it past another 2 weeks. The pressure would just be too much.
You're saying
what?
Well, because they were saying October would probably be it, and I reckon you might take it to October and say October 1st, done.
No, it's going to be very staged. It's going to be that. I just think the first stage is getting rid of the curfew and maybe the 5 kilometer limit.
Yes.
And then the next stage is a few more businesses are allowed to open. And
everyone's still going to have the masks on for a long time.
The masks can and basically should be mandatory as long as there's any community transmission at all. Because we know it's way everywhere in the world, it's way underreported because there's a lot of either asymptomatic cases or people who know they're sick but don't get tested for any number of... There's a number of reasons.
I've just got a cold.
Yeah. Sometimes they're in denial. Sometimes they're scared of the idea of going in and getting tested. Sometimes it's like, I am in casual, insecure work and I cannot afford to miss it.
There's a bit of that. There's quite a lot of that. But there's also, the really sick people. There's a guy in here who got tested. We had a scare 3 days ago, which I didn't tell you about because it worked out okay. And the whole hospital was locked down. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to be here for another 2 weeks. It was going to be a bit like a hotel, except I was pretty sure the physios would come and visit. Basically, the nurses were going around very concerned because if we got it locked down properly, no one leaves, no one goes in, no one goes out. And so they would have to go up to the 2 empty wards and live there.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how grumpy they'd get real fast. Yeah. Because that would get old for them real quick. Because they can go after 8, 12 hours. We can't. It's been weird. I've been in lockdown now for nearly a month. Yeah. So I get out tomorrow. And while everyone else is grumbling about I don't have a lot of radius to travel, I don't have a lot of this and that, I am fucking overjoyed.
You can go further than that floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I have an official letter for my personal carer.
Yeah, nice.
It allows him to break curfew and travel past the 5Ks of his house whenever the fuck he needs to care for me.
Oh,
and
nice.
We have sorted out a load of caring situations where we need to be fucking away from my house. Yeah, well, actually, a lot of them are fair income too.
Well, they would be. There'd be a lot of really legitimate reasons. Yes.
I'm fucking doctoring it up for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm going to be shooting everywhere, and he's going to be driving me. Jesus, that's going to be nice, not having to PT it everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to PT it for a week until I see the neurologist, and that could be 3 months.
Yikes.
But they might give me a call and say you can PT it again, your tests, because they've got to come in and have a nerve conduction test once every week and a half or 2 weeks or something. And if they improve, and they haven't been, then I can do a lot more stuff. But I can walk now with a stick, which means
that's good.
I can get out of this place and go home and go upstairs.
Nice.
In my house.
I was going to say good evening to Stella and Safa, who have just come in. Hello.
Good evening, Stella and Safa. We were just discussing shooting Mexican children through air cannons.
Well, you were saying that.
Texas.
I was saying we should give Mexican children sticks to hit Donald Trump like he's a piñata. But
yeah, but I want to see Donald Trump running around with his hairpiece flapping.
Yeah.
Trying to tell Border Control what to do when you've got thousands of these kids in squirrel suits being pumped over the border in air cannon with drugs. And
that would keep
different kinds of drugs, right? Yeah. And the duck shoot's going on, and sure, you get a couple, but they're Mexicans. And is that right?
That would keep the kids safe. That's the one thing that would keep the kids safe if Trump was running around telling people what to do.
That's what I'm thinking.
That would be a guaranteed clusterfuck. Yeah.
Because he'd say, "We'll concentrate on this area because they're doing it there," and then of course, they'd stop doing it there. And the Border Patrol will go, and Border Patrol will go up to him and say, "Well, since the last round of funding cuts, we've had to reduce our staff by 2/3, and now there's about 8 miles between each pickup truck." I was thinking utility. No, they don't say that. SUV. No, they've got trucks. Why the fuck would they have trucks? Why wouldn't they have SUVs? I don't get it. Why would they have trucks? What the fuck are they going to put back in the back of a truck? Refos? They're going to do that. They just arrest them and wait for the cops to turn up in normal fucking squad cars, which is retarded because it means that the roads they drive on means that you could drive around in a micro, and which would be hilarious, going around in a hybrid electric car, and getting out with a fucking assault rifle, because fuck, you've got shopping in the back, and you've got your water bottles and fucking heavily armed automatic rifles to shoot the squirrels coming over the border.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun. It'd be like clay pigeon shooting. Paul, but you wouldn't be able to see Paul because they would already be coming. So you get thousands and thousands of. You'd get every circus air cannon, and then you'd build a lot off the plans in the world, and you'd line them up on the border, across the river. What's the river called? The Rio Grande.
Yes.
And Rio's not anywhere near it, and it's not very grand because you can walk across it in places.
Yes.
And those places aren't patrolled.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Anyway, Trump has also said he wants to mine the Rio Grande, and Texas turned around and said, "Don't do that."
There's
So
boats on there.
and we go swimming in the river.
Ooh, aliens are visiting AIDSy. Yes, to check that. Trump, in all seriousness, said, like, could you investigate digging a moat and putting crocodiles and snakes in it? Because that would discourage people if there was a moat with crocodiles and snakes.
Boop.
Because he's a fucking child. He is a 10-year-old boy.
It'd be like a movie. Lose the whole clip at once. And miss everything.
Abigail, Viva Mexico, ole hombres.
Half of mine include 58 gigabytes of data, and I've got all of half a month left, which is perfect.
All right. There you go.
Mind you, I am going through the telephone rather than the fucking Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi has been a bit shit.
A bit shit? No.
However, tomorrow...
I was about to say, only one more day. Yeah.
Tomorrow I will be on the good Wi-Fi, and I probably won't be using much phone at all.
That is a plus. Oh, and then having a rough week, and so is full of gin. Well, that's a thing. I got
disgusted that Ode is for Odie. Who
what?
You say is full of gin?
Annette is full of gin.
Annette. No good being full of gin.
Yeah.
No good. Where's mine?
Yeah.
Sharing. You could email me gin.
That's the future we want. 3D printing of booze. That is just, gin and elderflower. That's a good combination.
Oh, it is nice actually. Boss of the house has got a 3D printer.
Oh, nice. That's fun. I got more booze delivery today. I got so much stuff on order. Not all booze, so it's just like, it's just a lottery. Like Australia Post sends these generic things. You've got a package coming. It's got, cool. I've got 3 different things on order. I wonder what it is. And today it was a bottle of booze. It was allspice liqueur,
nice,
aka pimento drink. Yes, because I almost used it all up. It's one of the things. It was from the same order as that the rum I was drinking last night, but the rum arrived first. It's coming from 3 different places apparently, so it's coming at 3 different times. The things I ordered.
Makes sense. In bed.
It's cool because I only pay through the Dan Murphy site. I only pay 1 shipping charge, even though it's coming from 3 different places.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
no, that's fair. What am I saying?
And then you need more whiskey. As I said, I'm getting a Starwood delivery. However long it takes, it's one of the things with Australia Post. So who knows when it's going to get here? But I went a bit crazy with Starwood. Mentioned this last night. I ordered the 2-fold whiskey, the old-fashioned pre-mix cocktail, and the one that seemed to surprise you, Annette, the Red Manhattan, although Stella had that one, if I remember rightly. Manhattan is whiskey and vermouth cocktail. And just for fun, I decided to get that as well. So I've got all sorts of treaties coming in the mail. And I have several non-booze items on order as well. So the next couple of weeks might bring me all sorts of surprises and treasures delivered to the door. And when everything's been delivered, then I'll have to try and think of, can I justify buying something else? I get things. PBR got off the couch and made some jambalaya. Nice. That would kill AIDS, probably. You probably got chili in there. Jambalaya tends to be pretty spicy.
My grandmama made jambalaya that would make everybody jump up and down. Dance.
Yeah.
Jambalaya.
Yeah. Mail is unreliable at the moment. As Annette saying the report you needed yesterday being put in the mail should arrive in the next 7 days. It might arrive tomorrow. You might get really lucky and it might arrive tomorrow. But Australia Post are really hedging their bets at the moment. And when anything's in the system, they're going, well, shit's fucked up, yo. And that might take a week to get to you. You know,
most is, sorry for talking over you there, man, is that because fucking everything is made in China,
yeah,
shit just isn't coming.
I'm very hesitant to order anything from overseas. Yeah.
Well, but everything is from overseas.
No, but I only order something that's in stock here.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As the stocks in the big warehouses run low,
and they are, yeah,
and they are. Everybody is screaming at the suppliers, for Christ's sake, it's something to them. And you know what made me laugh was pretty much all toilet paper in Australia is made in Australia. There never needs to be a run on it.
Yeah. One big factory in South Australia, yeah.
You know, like there's 3 in fucking Tasmania next to one another because they're next to the pulp mill. And which is a disgusting crying shame, but at least there's only one.
Yes.
If the Liberals got their way, there'd be like 15 and there'd be no human pine left.
Yeah.
And that would be... Did you know, by the way, that Tasmania is making more money out of ecotourism than it ever would have made out of the hydroelectric and forestry?
Oh, of course. The idea of destroying that wilderness was criminal on every level.
But the forestry people all got hired by tourism places because they knew which tree was which and where the animals were and what they were, and because they spend all their day out in the bush. And what they found, which was bizarre, was the forestry guys, the woodcutters, loved the forest.
Yeah.
They adored it.
And
in their minds, they were cutting down one big tree and then the next big tree, and it was way over there. But what they didn't understand was there was a couple thousand of them doing it 5 times a day, every day. And the forest was getting seriously denuded. Those big old growth trees, especially human pine. Human pine is actually coming back. And so they're starting to chop it down again, which is great. Human pine is the best material to make boats out of because it will not rot in water, fresh or salt. You can build all kinds of internal fittings. You obviously want metal on the outside of fiberglass on the outside of a boat in the water. But you want all of your fixtures and fittings made out of human pine because it's very strong and it won't corrode. So while you're in a frosty fucking gale going, I'm in a big sea in a little boat, shit won't be breaking around you and the structure of the boat will stay fairly good. They've had so many human pine boats capsize around Tasmania because the bottom Tasmania is technically in the Southern Ocean. Southern Ocean doesn't get a lot of press because the Atlantic is a dangerous ocean. Whoa, the storms, which are piss nothing to the Southern Ocean, which goes right round Antarctica. And as you can imagine, there are some breezes down there. And those breezes, packages takes 47 days to trip in the US, so get a package to the UK, which took 13 days. Stella, foreigners. Boom.
I love this one. PBR got a package from the UK that was ordered in February. Yikes. I ordered some stuff from South Australia that took more than 2 weeks to get here, to the point where I actually contacted them and said, look, I know everything's fucked up. This is actually slightly longer than I thought it was. And this was for a limited edition product. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm actually getting it. And they chased it up for me and said, yeah, it's actually in a Melbourne warehouse now. So it is coming to you. And it actually arrived days after that.
A lot of drugs, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of drugs are imported in the mail. They're packaged in such a way that they're actually very hard to detect. And you can go online on your Tor browser, go to a shop, like any other online shop, and they have specials and deals.
Yeah.
And they have seasonal deals. They have Valentine's deals on ecstasy. On Christmas, they have benzo deals for family events.
Jacob family, yeah.
Yeah, like a couple of benzos, and I can have dinner with Dad, which is what I found. I can't remember the conversation later, but didn't want to sell full human pine, launch shrimp under the water. Sarah has been there since Collins Pro's there. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Lasts a long time.
It's a long time. It's like 200 years. Because Van Diemen's Land was found second after Western Australia. I love how the Dutch went, there's nothing here.
Well, they did land a really shitty stretch of Western Australia.
They landed in a really shitty stretch of Western Australia and said, it's a small island, and fucked off.
Yeah.
And then some more Dutch came around to Van Diemen's Land and went, it's just forest and Abbo's killing us.
Yeah.
Let's fucking just sell it to the British. And the British said, guns will do the trick.
Yeah.
And they did.
I don't know who did it. There was an early map, and their idea was that it was actually continuous land from Van Diemen's up through the east coast of Australia. And I thought, what was that? Were you in fog for 3 days? And you just went, I'm pretty sure it's still there. And then the fog lifted and you'd reach the mainland and you go, yep, look, it's still there.
Okay. What you're going to understand, Angry, and I know how this happened. I do actually know how this happened.
Yeah.
Is that there's the Great Australian Current, and it comes down from Indonesia, down past Queensland where it picks up heat, and then comes down the east coast of Australia where it goes faster and faster as it loses that heat. And by the time, it's why we have the Sydney to Hobart yacht race, because they get in the Australian current, and the wind is usually that way, and they fucking bolt down there in 24 hours. It's a fucking quick run. And it's why boats going to Tasmania hug the coast, and the boats coming from Tasmania get outside the current and hug the northern current a lot slower, but it's not pushing against you. The sailors only had the wind to help them, so they went, fuck going backwards because the wind's going that way and the current's going that way. We will go offshore past the continental shelf where the current drops off and where the winds tend more northerly, because what they weren't really aware of is that it bounced off New Zealand. And to think that anything bounces off New Zealand just blows my mind.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is with the map making, they were completely out of sight of land for a very extended period, a couple of days. And the map maker's just going, I'm pretty sure it's still there, just out of sight. And then they sort of hoved into the mainland. See, I told you it was still there. There we go.
They had every reason to believe it. The same people, the same technology, and the same forestry as the east coast of Victoria was in Tasmania. So they figured that it stretched all the way, because by this time they had already gone into New South Wales and seen the same landform for miles, fucking miles and fucking miles. And one early explorer, and this is explorers only exploring the Sydney Basin because they hadn't gone over the Blue Mountains yet, was exploring the Blue Mountains and said to another explorer, one of the navigators, they had cleverly 4 navigators with them, and said to one of the navigators, "Jeez, I feel like we've been walking forever." And the navigator laughed and said, "We have walked equivalently 3 times around Scotland." And that's in the Sydney Basin. Yeah. The Sydney Basin is a bit fucking big. It goes down past Wollongong and goes up just past Newcastle.
For someone who's used
right?
For someone who's used to the British Isles, that is a very big area.
It's a very big area.
Yeah.
And they were coming across. What was also funny was they brought a linguist with them to learn to speak with the natives. And of course, they were crossing country after country after country.
So different languages,
all different language groups. And these linguists were going, "Hi," in the last language.
Yeah.
And what they found is if they kept with the language they just learned, the new natives could kind of understand them, and
because it was their neighbours. Yeah,
their neighbours, and then the translator would come along and go, "Oh, okay, man," blah, and the linguists would spend ages, as long as they could, with the translator and go,
"Yeah,
Christ, I've teach me the new language," and the translators thought this was very funny and went, "Yeah, sure," and was chuffed that a white guy could speak like real language, not the goobly gubba that they speak. Weird. It's like watching fucking dogs bark at one another, or crocodiles talk, which is what the blackfellas said, that the white guys sounded like dogs barking at one another or crocodiles talking to one another. It's weird language and their weird habits and their stiffness of movement. It's just weird. But those bang sticks, they commanded a lot of fucking respect.
Yeah, once you learned what they could do.
Yeah, they learned real quick that they were they would up-fuck you real fast. But so will a spear.
They will. Hi, Megaleech, by the way.
Hey, Megaleech. These poor bloody explorers got the impression that there was a lot of Australia.
Yes, there's a lot going
Cook
on.
had mapped, and how shit is Cook? He'd mapped the east coast of Australia and got it 12 centimetres to the west of where it really is.
Yeah.
Well, who's it? Tool.
Is it Flinders?
Like how inaccurate can it can't be? And
was it Flinders who did the circumnavigation? And was he the map maker that did the circumnavigation? Because his maps you can overlay on a fucking satellite picture.
Well, same with
and
Cook.
It's freakishly accurate.
Yeah, same with Cook. They basically used Cook's maps until they could get something better, and they found satellite mapping was brilliant. So the satellite mapped the east coast of Australia, and then just for shits and giggles, they said, well, how inaccurate was Cook? And they found not a lot of the same scale that they were using. They're fucking dead on. And they went, he's 12 centimetres out, tool. And they said, well, why is he 12 centimetres out exactly all the way up? And that was before they realised that it was actually continental drift. And continental drift accounts for 9 of those 12 centimetres. So Captain Cook, what a fucking inaccurate tool, got the coastline and mapping of Australia 3 centimetres out for thousands of kilometres.
The fucking cartographers took their shit seriously, the way they took the bearings.
The tools they used were fascinating. I'm still trying to get hold of a sextant and map table, but they're a little bit spenno. And to learn to use them takes a little bit of effort.
It's a bit, yes. A few
but
years.
See, what you can do now is you can get an American compass plastic and an ordnance map and do everything that the compass table and the sextant can do, and you can do it in moments without having to do all the calculations. You can do all of the trigonometry by taking the angles and reading them off. A compass on a compass card. Imagine a big square, a big oblong of plastic, and in it, with holes and rulers and one big, virtually circular compass. And you take a fixed point, and then you fix 2 other points, and then you backtrace. And as you backtrace, you basically fix more and more points, and you can literally navigate across open ground for days and not get lost and know exactly where you are. And if you get a bearing to get to a place, you can stay on that bearing and get back on track easily. And that's why they invented it. And nowadays, because of GPS, they do not teach the Navy or the Army how to do backtracing on maps anymore. They do it all on GPS. And in the Australian services, they said, no, we're not going to do that because batteries run out and satellites fail.
Yep.
And we're not keen to have undertrained troops running around. They're constantly, every time they do an exercise together, Australia and America, they're constantly having to have Australian troops go and find lost patrols of American troops. And can you imagine in the Northern Territory and Western Australia finding a lost patrol of American troops that's mechanised, that's run out of battery for their GPS, and they're not sending EPIRB signals? So you've got to do a search for these people. So the Air Force gets involved with fast jets and does a quick run because you can spot American patrols like dog balls in the desert. The ground special forces goes and talks to the local Indigenous and says, have you seen a bunch of dickhead Americans running around? And they go, yeah, it was weird. They didn't have any water and they kept going. That was strange. And we were offering them water and they were pointing guns at us. So we thought, you know, the better part of valor is discretion, and we fucked off. What a lot of the black special forces guys do in Australia is they take all their clothes off and carry a dilly bag with all of their high-tech gear in it, covered up by kangaroo skin and other giblets. And they take spears around with them. And their rifles are hidden inside number 7 boomerangs, which is fucking hilarious because a lot of them will take the rifle out and put it on their shoulder and then throw the number 7 boomerang and take people out, which I think is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you do what works.
If
it works, it works.
I can get the boomerang back after I've taken him down.
Yeah.
When they're arresting people, they take black trackers with them, and if they can get them, they take warriors with them. And the black tracker can find anything. I've seen black trackers track animals and men over rock, just fucking rock. And they know where they are. They know where they've gone. And one guy, and I saw this actually on doco, they were looking for a lost photographer. And this photographer done all the right things. He'd gone to the cop station, said, I'm going to go this area, I'm doing this, I'm photographing that. I'll be back. I'm camping this night and this night. I'm going to get the sat phone out and check in. And then I'll be back on this day. And he was late 12 hours. Search party was on. They got the local guys together in the black tracker. And they were tracking this guy, this is up in Kakadu, across this rock, flat rock formation that ran with water in the wet season. And the black tracker said, oh, we better hurry up because he's not well. I think he's broken his left leg. And I got to tell you, fuck all. Camera's looking down at what he's looking at. And I'm going, I'm seeing rock. And this guy just saw signs and he said, bloody wallabies jumped across this track. I'm not this way. And I'm again seeing rock. And then he's gone, ooh, we better go even faster because there's a crocodile that's smelling a meal. So they really started to double time it, yeah? Everyone's really moving. And the black kids who love going on these search trips because the cops bring food and they bring white bread and jam and hot dogs and all the stuff you can't get in the mission towns. And the kids, they pig out first because you need energy for growing boys. And that takes 2 hours. And the cops don't mind, like fucking, they're keen, cool. And the boys love it because they're going to get fed for the day and they've got a job for the day. And they all get $180 for the day. And you go, fucking sweet. It's 6 weeks' wages. Jesus Christ. Anyway, off they go. And, crocodiles looking for him. And so all the black fellas go forward. And these guys started withdrawing weapons from places because they were all wearing shorts and T-shirts and no shoes. And start withdrawing these fairly fucking fearsome weapons from I don't know where. One kid gets out this fucking cane knife and he was wearing fucking Speedo short, short, stubby shorts. And I'm going, where the fuck did you keep that? And so he gets it out and starts twiddling it because, Crocs command respect as well. And so they race after this guy because he's in trouble and Croc's looking for him. And they find the Croc and the Croc is looking at them and then he's looking back at the smell of this guy and now there's blood trail. So it was real easy to follow the track then. Even I could do it. And I thought, ooh, this guy's really hurting. His bone has gone through his skin now while he's trying to find shelter. This Croc's going, do I chance it? And one of the boys takes his rifle and fucking shoots the foot of the crocodile because it's still protected and there's cops around. So one of the boys shoots the foot and one of the other boys shoots the other foot. And the Croc goes, yeah, I'm getting the point. Right, and then they shoot his knees and he's like, oh, fuck this, I've got it, okay, I'm leaving. And the Croc turns around and goes, the thing is, the Croc wasn't stopped and the bullets didn't go in, it was just stinging him. Yeah. That bothered me quite a lot. That you can shoot a Croc in the legs with a rifle and the fucker keeps going. Yeah. Can you imagine if he turned around with his big snappy snaps and was coming at you and you had the rifle and go...
Oh, yeah. No, it's all... One of my favourite things from a trip to Darwin with all the crocodile shit that's everywhere, Crocodile Farm had its little crocodile history museum and they had this skull in there and was just this massive. And this was like Old Bluey or whatever the fuck they called it. And it said every fisherman from Darwin reckoned they'd had a run-in with this croc over the years, would stalk fishermen, and a few guys went missing, whatnot. And someone eventually killed it. And it was, how long was it? 5 meters long? I don't know, but its head was fucking huge. And the thing that freaked me out was its skull. There were like a good 8 or 9 divots in the skull from where it had been shot. And none of them penetrated. There's just all these little divots in its skull from different fishermen had shot it in the head, and that's where you think that'll stop him.
That'll stop him
so much.
Yeah. There's a spot behind their eyes.
Yeah, the fucking head's the wrong place to shoot him.
Right at the ganglion, like where we would say our cerebral ganglion is. That's actually boneless. And if you stab him right there, he's screwed. If you shoot him right there, he's screwed. But to shoot him right there, you have to be standing less than a metre away from the croc. And people do it. People do it. Black fellas do it all the time.
Yeah. But that was definitely a little bit of wisdom learned there when you see this skull that's just got all these divots in it. And you think, when you can shoot this fucking thing in the head multiple times and it just keeps coming, it's like, maybe don't go in the water. Don't go in. It was nobody was saying earlier he's got to deal with the ocean. I don't go in it and it won't drown me or let things bite me.
Well, there's so many surfers in Australia that when you say, you might get taken by a shark, they say, And
sorry, Stella knows that it was Sweetheart. That was it.
Was it, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sweetheart. But the skull was just like, like both sharks and crocodiles are, fucking prehistoric. They haven't changed for millions of years. But you see this big fucking skull and you go, no, that's some Jurassic Park shit there. That is.
No, pretty trigger. They still don't know how to accurately date a crocodile's age. And they've had crocodiles in farms try and date their age that are 80 years plus. Yeah. And they outlive the researchers. So there's a break in the research. And then oftentimes the date is lost because the researchers die before the croc. Yeah. And it's like, that's a bit unfair. So it is thought that they live between 90 and 140 years. And if they live to 140 years, they grow to be, and I'm not shitting you, 9 to 10 metres long.
They got one recently that was, I think it was more than 6 meters long. And it had been coming a bit close to town, and that's why they caught it. And when you're starting to get
good for kids.
20
got my baby.
20-foot long crocodiles wandering close to inhabited areas. That's movie monster stuff right there.
That's called in the ranges. And there are, the crocodile hunter.
Yes.
What a bizarre way to die. Fuck me.
Will we get the stingray again?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like, it was his anniversary recently. You're saying, like, if he got killed by a crocodile or a shark or something, I'm sad, but, who didn't see it coming? Yeah. But stabbed through the heart by a stingray that he wasn't even hassling.
More and more these days, they say probably the stingray wasn't intending it. It was probably a fluke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I've heard lots of stories from fishermen up that way, and they were, oh, no, I can understand that because we've had rays come up in the net and they're not happy. And if they're big enough, they've flashed out with this thing and it's pierced the deck. They've actually broken the deck with their fucking barb, and it's just like, okay, fucking what? I didn't want to catch you.
They're gummy little teeth. Yeah, they're gummy little tiny little teeth.
Yeah,
because they mainly filter feed. Their gummy little tiny little feet will take the gunnels off a ship, and that's an eye opener too.
Because they grind.
Well, they grind, and they'll mouth. The gunnels are the top rail of your boat. And the thing that stands between you and the sea.
Yes.
That top rail, the top flat rail, is the gunnel, and that's where you put bits and pieces to row or to catch fish and shit like that, and to tie up the boat and stuff. And the rays who are brought up will get up to the gunnels because you've got to pull them into the boat if you want to eat them. And they taste exactly like shark. They're like flake, and they don't get bits cut off them. Jesus Christ, that disturbs me when they do shark fin.
Oh no, that's disgusting. That is
fins off and throw the live shark back in the water.
Yeah, to die really slowly. Yeah, no, it's that is.
Yeah, because they need to move through the water to breathe.
Yeah,
and they can't navigate because they've got no tail left and no fins left.
No, finning sharks is absolutely disgusting.
If you're going to cut the fins off a shark, kill the fucking shark.
Yeah, kill it. Why the fuck are you not?
Does that hurt?
That's psychotically cruel.
It's like, for fuck's sake, you've got time to stab it through the brain.
Yeah.
Right? It's not hard. You've already got a knife. Anyway, I'll stop that because it just disturbs me.
We agree. Finning sharks is fucking sick.
Yeah. Australians fishermen fin sharks, but they bring the shark back because you can sell the rest of the shark. Anyway, doesn't matter. Look,
it'll just make us angry.
It just makes us angrier and angrier. The rays, on the other hand, are when they're big enough, and they get fucking big. They're all flake. All of those flap arms, and virtually all of the ray, except for their internal organs, which are in a very neat line down the centre of them, and obviously their bladder sacs, virtually all edible fish. So sometimes when you're eating flake, you're not actually eating shark, you're eating ray. It's not as common. It's actually pretty uncommon to catch a ray because there's a technique to it to get them in the boat and not to make them make a lot of fucking mess before they jump back out of the boat. Same with sharks, as I found out. Did I ever tell you the time that we caught a shark, a mako?
I've certainly heard a shark fishing story from you. I don't know if you want to share a shark fishing story.
I'm happy to if you're up for it.
Go for it.
Okay. So I used to go fishing with my old man, and he had this 18-foot shark cat, which is a catamaran, fiberglass catamaran, driven by 2 engines. They're very fast. And the catamaran has a flat section between the 2 hulls. And what's really nice about it is when it comes over a wave and thumps down, there's an air pocket under the flat hull, and you don't hit as hard. It's more gentle on the boat, and it's more gentle on the passengers. Because you'll go out in a friend's V-shaped boat and you go over the wave and then you drop. And some of these waves on the south coast of New South Wales, when you get off the continental shelf, are enormous. And you don't realise how high you're going because you're surrounded by sea. And all of a sudden you drop 70 metres and you go, yuck. Because you come over the hill and go, oh my stars, there's nothing beneath us. And down you come and you go crunch into softer water, and your spine gets compressed in a V-shaped hole. But in the catamaran, you just go boom, and it's like ow. So we had, and they're fairly wide, so you can they're fairly roomy. So My old man's dream was to catch sharks because they're, you could sell them and eat them. You could sell most of them and eat part of them. And if you caught enough sharks, you could claim how tough you were, and you could actually pay for the boat. If you caught marlin, you could pay for the boat. So we always went where you could catch sharks, tuna, and marlin. And it's the same place, by the way. And we caught this fucking mako, and it was 2.5 meters long. So it was only young. It was really only coming into its manhood. And I know it was a man because it had the two flukes down the bottom of it, two penises. How fucking tough is a shark? It's got two dicks. Anyway,
that's like a fight. I got two dicks. Which one do you want me to fuck you with? Sorry.
Yeah. Pretty much. However, sharks are one of the few animals where when they do the sex thing, one of the few fish, when they do the sex thing, it's not a rape and it's not just sperming over eggs, but they actually come together. And it's not violent. They sniff each other out and say, "Want to go? Yeah, fucking get your coat on, you're scored." They do the thing and they spin underwater while they're doing this, and it kind of looks pretty cool. And then when they're done, they sort of part and they nuzzle, which is sort of cute. It's a post-root couple, and they swim off. And
shark eggs are these really weird corkscrew
spirally.
When I saw a picture the first time someone saying shark eggs, I thought it was one of those stupid things where you call a thing that it's not. But sharks do lay eggs, and they're these absolutely bizarre spiral things. They're very weird.
And the reason they're a spiral thing, I got actually told in biology by my biology teacher, who was also my intelligence officer at high school. I really don't like where this camera is. The reason they're spiral is because they drop them, and they lay them one at a time as they're swimming along, and they don't care for them or tend to them. They just fly away.
They just leave them, yeah.
And they drop. They're heavier than water, and they drop to the bottom. And what happens is the tide and the current comes over, they don't spiral into the sand, but they don't move, and the sand covers them, not fully, but covers most of them. And the top half of a shark egg is made out of tiny stuck together virtually stones. And so fish come together going, "Oh, egg," and "Ow, fuck, dentist." I was giving Robert Shaw Quint a run for his money with his shark story. Thank you. Anyway, we caught this fucking mako, and most fishermen who go after sharks have a shotgun aboard. Father didn't approve of guns aboard the boat because his sons might have fucking shot him. He was a motherfucker in the water, Jesus Christ. My brother has said, I will never go on a boat with him ever again. He turned into this Bligh character. Oh, Christ. I had some of the most miserable times alive on that fucking boat. Also I was resentful because it was a fine example of we would get shit all, and he would pride himself on how cheap our gifts were. Thanks, asshole. And he bought himself this fucking boat and spent for 40 grand and spent well over 200 grand on it. And back in those days, that was a fucking house. And he sold it again for 20 grand because that's all it was worth. Jesus. Anyway, he fucking loved it. He loved screaming and yelling and fucking giving orders, stupid orders. I mean, he pretended to be this big fisherman. He didn't know fucking what he was doing. Didn't know where he was going. And he would get hints, and occasionally he'd get lucky, because he fucking listened to people for a change. He caught hold of a fisherman's map. And what happens is these fishermen have lanes in the water, and they go up and down these lanes, and they catch fish that way because that's where the fish are. And unless you've got one of these maps, you've got no fucking idea where you're going. And another trick is go where all the other boats are.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy. But what would happen was we would wait until we would see little fish flying across and out of the water, which meant a bigger fish was chasing them. Pelagic was chasing them.
Yeah.
And that's what you wanted. So in went the lures, and you'd catch either tuna, a bluefin tuna, a yellowfin tuna, a shark, or a marlin. Marlin, of course, were the catch. But I had to fight those fuckers for hours before they gave up. Sharks, you have to convince that they're losing. Yeah. And that can take up to an hour, and you've got to have virtually wire as the reel, and the hook has to be virtually enough to hang a man. And as they get close to the boat, traditional fishermen get the shotgun out and shoot them behind the back of the head, and then they pull them into the boat. Not us. No, we got the flying gaff, which is a big fucking hook on a rope. And the idea is you throw the rope overboard and pull it into the fish. That takes skill and practice.
Yeah.
And my old man would fucking swing this thing around. I got hit twice. Once through the cheek and once through the shoulder. And he's fucking dragging it forward. I'm going, stop. And he said, oh, fuck, what is this fucking going? He's tugging on the fucking thing. I've gone, you've got me. And turn around and look. Fuck off, I know what I'm doing. Turn around and look. And then finally he would, and he'd see the gaff through me. And he said, I'm trying to catch a fucking fish. Get it out of here. And this was so common. This was so fucking common. No. Anyway, so we bring this fucking mako into the boat. The mako suddenly decides that it's really uninterested in being out of the water and in a boat. And it starts to thrash. Yeah. You will be surprised how aggressive and how powerful a shark is when it's annoyed. So it
not
starts to thrash around the boat. We've got it in the middle of the boat on the bait box, which is a continuously running water side hook to keep bait alive and to keep catches alive, because you keep them fresher that way. And then this fucking shark's on the bait box, and then starts to swing its fucking tail around. And as it's doing that, it's swinging its head around. And it smashed so much stuff. All of the brass fittings, like the compass, the barometer, the fucking secondary compass, and the main compass went gone. The fish finder was gone, and the sat phone was destroyed. And I'm going, Jesus, fuck. Oh, dear. Because we're off the continental shelf. Yeah. And the land is just below the horizon. So we virtually have to follow the sun home to catch the land. And then they had these wonderful maps, which had they had a plan map where everything was, and then they had a
Yeah.
a vertical map. So you hold this thing up and you match the hills, and you know roughly where you are. And fuck, we had a few of those on board.
Yeah.
Anyway, this shark fucking really broke a lot of shit, and it finally thrashed its tail and smashed some of the fiberglass on the gunnel. And finally, my old man says, all right, take out the flying gaff, cut the hook and let it go. And that happened. But before that happened, the shark flicked toward me because I got told to go and get something. I can't even fucking remember what it was. It was going to be useless anyway. I got told to go and get the gutting knife. It's this long, right? And it's thin, and it's very sharp.
Yes.
With a gutting knife.
Yeah.
On a shark that's moving around. You stab it once, it's going to look at you going, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. This week, Stone Azy was on a boat with sounds like the sort of guy who should have been used as bait. Cannot agree fucking more.
It was his old man, in case you missed that, nobody. It was
my mother and I had a discussion when I was 17, and she said, one of you has to leave. Because it's not a matter of if you're going to kill one of them, it's a matter of when.
When.
And I went, you're right. And she said, I hate to say this, son, but it's probably got to be you. And I said, well, it was going to be me, but I just missed out on my university course, which was going to be a wine scientist. Imagine me as a wine scientist. And she said, well, why don't you do drama instead? You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I did. Fucking best decision ever.
Yeah, and that's where Harry met Sally.
Oh, yeah, that's where Harry met Sally. And Theatre of Sticks and Mud. Jesus, I was disappointed when we learned Theatre of Sticks and Mud. That's what theatre's about. That's theatre and learning to be an actor. And fucking later on in life, I saw all these actors fucking crying in cafes because they couldn't get work, and I'm going, make work. Get out on the street and make a show.
Yes, we learned a lot of life skills. We learned practical acting and performance stuff and history and whatnot, but fuck me, we learned life skills.
Oh, God, yes. Mate, me and Angry, if we were broke and decided not to rob people because we would and can, we would find a piece of chalk. No shit. We would find or steal a piece of chalk. Or we would go into an art shop and say, I will come back with double the price of the chalk if you let me have it now. And here is my driver's license / wallet to prove it. I'm coming back. And then what you do with the chalk is you draw a line, a circular line, or a semicircular line if you've got your back against a wall, which is excellent. And then you do a show. What? What with? With anything you pick up on the way. I'm serious. Anything you pick up. And then you talk for 15, 20 minutes, and you've got you mustn't do a show for more than 20 minutes because they'll leave. But the ideal show length is 15 minutes. Between 10 and 15 minutes. And then you send one of them around the back of the crowd with a hat. And then as they're trying to get away, you look at them in the eye and make them decide whether to put money in the hat or not. And then you've got another hat at the front, and the guy at the front hat keeps talking and says all the lines like, please give generously or we'll have to go back to our old jokes of selling drugs to your children. Ma'am, are you interested in heroin? You say that to a 6-year-old. Ha, 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 ha. And you can earn breakfast in 20 minutes. You can come away with about $800 worth of day's pay if you work for about 6 hours, which is really going for it and it's hard. But
which is really fucking hard work.
but it's $600 and it's more than the doll.
Yes.
And a lot of
Mm.
actors that came from our ilk, a lot of them actually, a good third would get on the dole and go, I've spent all my dole on rent. Better find a packet of cigarettes, some sticks, and some paddle pops, and go into a show. So anyway, this guy who I was going to kill, this is one of the incidents that proved to me that he should die, was pushing this shark toward me because my brother was on the side of the bait box that he was on, and he's decided to push the shark off the boat toward me, and I'm going, this shark is longer than the space in the back of the boat. I have nowhere to go except to stand on the gunnel with the cabin, which is this wide and has a handhold that is a metre away with a thrashing shark. And I'm going, my best bet is to duck under and hope the shark bounces over. And I've just thought this, and the shark came and flicked me out of the boat. And I say flicked, the shark just flicked. I flew, I shit you not, 10 metres with a broken rib out of the boat and hit the water fucking shoulders first. And I was a national class swimmer, so that wasn't a problem. And I remembered to blow out of my nose as I went under the water. And a couple of thoughts went through my head. I went, right, I am now in the water where there are a lot of sharks, because if there's one shark, there's a fuckload more. And I'm 10 metres away from the boat in fairly lively seas. So I must swim back to the boat in a sharpish manner. And in those days, I could swim in a sharpish manner, and I was fucking giving it some. And also remember that the annoyed shark was on my side of the boat, swimming around pissed. And I'm going, so I'm swimming, and then I get a knock on my side of my leg, and I look down, and it's a bigger mako that's just bumped me. And I think he just bumped me out of mistake. He just wasn't looking. And he sort of looked at me and goes, what the fuck are you doing here? I'm going, I'm leaving. Don't worry, ignore me. And it did. And another tiny little mako, like a baby mako that was just sort of hanging around with the big kids to look cool, had a nip. And it was only a nip. And I'm now bleeding in the water with bucking sharks around. I've got 8 metres to swim because the boat's being carried away. My old man is looking at the gear on the boat. My brother is alerting my old man to the fact that I am swimming toward the boat while the current is taking the boat away. So in the end, I had to swim about 100 metres to get back to the boat. At the time, that wasn't for me a big deal. I could do that. And I could do that in fairly rough seas. That was okay. But I was a bit annoyed because I could actually hear them because I was doing water polo swimming, which is you head out of the water, instead of traditional speed swimming, which is you head in the water and side to side breathing.
Yeah.
Because you've got to orient where you are in the sea. So I was swimming. This boat was sort of receding, and I'm going, fuck, I've got to swim faster. And I did. And then when I got nipped by the shark, I swam a lot faster. My brother was alerting my dad to the fact that I was in the water away from the boat. And he's looked over and then gone back to checking the gear in his boat. And I've gone, you motherfucker. It was nothing for you, because the engines were going. It was nothing for him to turn the engines on slightly, turn around and come and pick me up. No, I had to go and swim to the Fuck you. And he was mourning all the shit that he lost. It's all expensive shit that he lost. And I'm swimming in shark-infested waters. And I'm going, I'm very angry with you right now.
Yeah.
So one of the things that swimmers develop is this bizarre strength of being able to pull themselves up, right? Because you come inside the pool and you, rather than use the ladder, because there's like 50 of you, or, you know, in 4 lanes of different squads, there are like 50 of you at the end of training, and you go to the side of the pool and you pull yourself out. And when you do 100 sprints, you do the 100, then you pull yourself out, and you do the 100 again as fast as you can. So you get used to pulling yourself out. It's also actually pretty good exercise. And anyway, so if I got to the side of the boat, I could have pulled myself up to the boat. Most people can't. The boat gunwale is actually quite high, and you've virtually got to parallel bar yourself up to your hips to be able to then roll one leg into the boat.
Yeah.
And I could do that. It was a bit of a stretch for me, but I could do it. And with sharks around, I could fucking definitely do it with a bleeding leg. And I get to the boat. The easiest way to get on the boat is to go around the back of the boat where there's a ladder. And so I'm looking at this boat, and it's sort of toward the back. I'm going, I'll get up the ladder. So I swim to the back of the boat, and my old man has decided, wouldn't it be funny if you did that thing that you do in cars when people shut the gate and you drive off for a little bit, and not let them in? And so I've swum for my life for the last 100 metres, and he's gone, ha, 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 and gunned the boat sort of 20 metres away, and I've gone, yep, fucking hilarious. He's laughing his ass out. And I'm swimming to get toward the boat, guns it again. And I've gone, oh, this game has already gotten old. And he guns it for the 3rd time. And I go, he's just going to keep going. He's just going to keep going until I can't swim anymore, because he thinks this is fucking funny watching me suffer. And he said what was also funny was seeing all the fins come up as you were swimming toward the boat. Yep, hilarious. And then the 5th time he got on the boat, I actually caught hold of the rail, and I barefoot water skied my way up and stepped into the ladder and sat down in the boat and breathed a lot while I got my breath back. And he said, oh, good, you're back. You can go and do this and this and this. And I stood up and pulled my bathers down and pissed into the bait box where there were live fish that we'd caught that day. And he's gone, what are you fucking doing? And I'm going, oh, I need a piss. And it was a big, long piss. Big, yellow motherfucker. Oh, don't piss in there, you'll kill the fish. Oh, I don't care. And I've kept on pissing in the box. And he's shut the bait box, and I've pissed all over the top of the bait box, and there's piss going everywhere on the boat. You're pissing all over the boat. And I said, well, open the bait box, and I pissed in the bait box. Oh, fucking, you can't fucking do that. I'll fucking belt you on. I'm going, feel free, because you nearly killed me, and I'm very angry with you right now. And I'm about to break some more of your shit, because you have no way of getting us home. The boat is broken, and you did a stupid fucking thing and nearly killed me and had a lot of fun fucking tiring me out. I'm tired, I'm pissed off, and I'm very angry with you right now. So, you know what? For the next half an hour, I am going to do what I want, which is break your shit. And he said, oh, I'm fucking break my shit. And he decided, oh, I forgot we're going home. It's no fun anymore. Oh, when your shit gets broken, it's no fun. So he, fuck me, drunk, goes east. And I said, you're going the wrong way, turn around. Oh, I know what I'm doing. The sun is in the afternoon. The sun goes down in the west. The west is where the fucking land is. You are going toward New Zealand, and I don't think we have the fuel. Turn the fucking boat around and follow the sun. I'll just use the fucking gear. There is no fucking gear. The shark broke it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the shark broke me too. I don't give a fuck about you. I just used the reserve compass. It's in the water. Oh, well, we get the main compass. It's fucking full of holes. There's no float. Unless you can magnetise a fucking needle in a hurry. I was really fucking losing it. You don't know where you're going. Follow the sun back. Fucking smart ass. And he turns the boat around. Thank Christ. Because he would have kept going. He would have just kept on going southeast. And we would have eventually had to throw the EPIRB out on a sinking boat. We would have got rescued, but oh, for fuck's sake. He goes east. He says, well, I might as well throw a troll out as we go. So he throws, what trolling is you throw a lure and a hook out the back of the boat as you're motoring along, and it just follows the boat at, I don't know, 50, 100, 180 metres behind the boat. And a lot of pelagics will see it and go, oh, it's a swimming fish near the water. And a lot of the lures are made to go on their side, which means the fish's bladder is broken, so it's an easy catch. And it's going for it at the top of the water because that's where most of the oxygen is. Yay, quick meal. And so they grab the quick meal, and unfortunately there's a hook in it. And fuck me drunk, he catches something. And it's big because it's got a fairly big tension on the reel, and it screams as it runs out. And I'm going, oh, Jesus, no. Please just stop the fucking reel and let it break the hook and go. No. Stop the fucking boat. Flutters the engine so that it, forms a sea anchor, puts it in the harness, and fucking starts to fight the fish. He fights the fish for 20 minutes and then says, righto, Jason, it's your turn, because we won't get the wimp to do it, because apparently he's too tired. And I was going, and apparently I'll throw your fucking reel in the water too. Oh, your fishing rod in the water. And he knew I was going to do it. He said, when we get home, I'm going to fucking teach you all about being a fucking smart ass. And I thought, yeah, I might teach you too. I was very angry and very strong. Very strong. 16 years old and a national swimmer. You can imagine how big I was. Butterfly on a freestyle. I was fucking huge. Anyway, so I sat sullenly on the boat, feeling seasick again. Going, I'm not going to spew and give him the satisfaction because he loved it when I spewed because it attracted sharks. And he would deliberately set up the boat so I'd hurl. He'd go, great, we've got some burley, or the Americans call it chum. So then this fucking fish is running. And so they tighten the reel and tighten the reel and tighten the reel. And it gets fairly tight and it's still running. And he tightens it up more and then it stops running because it finally can't fight the wire. And they had a big wire on it. It was a big, strong wire. And I'm going, oh, shit. And so they're pulling this thing in, wind, pulling this thing in, wind. And then the fish should run again and pull on the reel. And you've got to let it run for a bit, otherwise it will break the wire. And so after 20 minutes, he goes, right, Jason, it's your turn. And I'm thinking, you're fucking kidding me, because the fish was starting to run, which meant that it was big and it was aggressive. And so my brother gets on and he's fighting this fish. And this is a big rod and it's bent. And the wire's running, and then he's pulling this fish in. He fought that fish for 2 hours. For 2 fucking hours, he fought that fish. And then finally, 50 metres away from the boat, this marlin jumps out of the fucking water. Oh, then all of a sudden, Jason, I'll take over now. You fucking turd. You let him do all the fucking work and you'll catch the fish. You fucking turd. Because now the fish is tired. It's fought for 2 hours. And my brother gets out and he comes next to me and he says, I think I might have hurt myself. He was sore for 3 weeks, and my mum finally took him to the doctor. And the doctor feels around and says, "That hurt?" Yep. He says, well, you've dislocated a shoulder. That would hurt. Have you been swimming? Yes. That must have hurt. He said, yeah, it did a bit. And he said, I'm going to punch you very hard. It's going to hurt a lot, but you'll feel better afterwards. He says, okay. And he goes, whack! And this doctor fucking was an old man, and he just fucking hit it in exactly the right spot. And I heard this pop, and he said it was on the cusp of dislocation. It hadn't come all the way out, which was
Jesus.
It was right on the cusp, and it had widened the cup and squashed the bone. And as he's hit it, everything's gone back into shape. And my brother's gone, hang on, I can move my arm here. And then doctor's gone, but I'm still not happy. Does this hurt? Yes. Go to the hospital and get an x-ray. And off we go. And he says to me, I want you to get an x-ray as well, because this infection's not good. What had happened when the little shark bit me was that it left a little tooth behind. Now, I don't know if you know this, but sharks don't clean their teeth between meals.
Rude bastards.
Neither do ants.
Yes, that's the other story. Ants have dirty little mandibles.
Anyway, so dirty little bastards. If you see an ant, kill it. I tell you what, even though they are the best recyclers of fucking matter in Australia, in the world, don't deserve to live. Spray. Anyway, it left a little tooth in me, and my leg, because it was like a 15 centimetre gash where it bit me and slipped off. And it was a fairly clean cut, but it was kind of deepish, and it bled a lot. And I was saying, where's the first aid kit? Oh, I took it out. What? Oh, I took it out because I need to put some more lures, some shit in there. And took the first aid kit out. What were you thinking? Well, we've never got hurt. I'm hurt. But you'll be right. Put some salt water on it.
It's a catch-22 thing when the guy goes to open the first aid kit for the morphine, and the guy who thinks he's an entrepreneur has stolen everything to sell it, and he's left one share of Milo Binder Enterprises because it seemed like a good idea to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I've not been 100%. This is going to sound really weak talking to you, but I've been slightly under the weather for a couple of days, and I'm going to go to bed slightly early, as in now.
I'll finish in about 20 seconds.
Trouble staying awake.
Okay, so it turned out that my brother had fractures in his shoulders and in the back of his ribs where he'd been fighting this fish, and the fish had actually caused him broken bones, fractured bones. Mum was in tears. And my bro just fucking dealt with the pain. I would have been a fucking mess. Anyway, my leg blew right up, and I'm just going, this is awful. And I sat on it funny at school, and this horrible smell happened, and the infection in my leg blew up, and this horrible corruption and nastiness came out of the cut. And I went, I've got to go home. And the teachers went, you've got to go home. So I went on the bus, and everyone on the bus is going, I can smell. I get home, just so happens my mum's there, and I'm going, and he's going, what's wrong with your pants? I'm going, I think I'm going to show you. I was afraid to take my pants down because I just didn't want to see. So I took my pants down, and the wound, where my leg had blown right up, the wound from the shark had infected, and this nastiness was just enormous. And we decided then and there to go into the bathroom and get rid of as much as we could before we went to the doctor. And as it was, when Bro came home, we both went. And the doctor said, I'm a surgeon, I can fix this now. AJ, this is going to hurt. He got a scalpel that looked like a spoon and dug out all the infection. I'm going,
Yes.
and sewed it up beautifully. No scar. There is no scar there. And gave me the tooth. It was 5 millimeters long. Beautiful little thing, but you couldn't put it on a pendant because everyone would go, no. And he was more worried about my brother because he was... anyway, so that was the story. The sun was going down, and I said, we have to leave. Oh, the fish is nearly here. We have to leave. If we lose this sun, we're fucked. And fucking wormwood. We got to the coast just as sunset hit, and the light buoys came on, and we didn't recognise where we were. We went south, and we couldn't recognise anything, and we were starting to run out of fuel, so we went north. And these boats carry a lot of fuel, and we went north, and other badness happened, but we just got in with the remainder of the fuel.
All right, your story's not finishing, and I'm going to bed.
No, it's finished and I'm done.
Okay. So, Kirsten's got to Sydney Airport, waiting for cops to take you to your quarantine digs. All right. Wait to see how the next 2 weeks goes. Look, take care, everyone. Gonna see you all again sometime later, assuming I don't have the Rona and don't feel much worse tomorrow. And
get well soon, dude. Get well soon.
Yeah, and so look after yourself, one and all. I'm going to bed. Bye.